Cute.
That feels good, man. I have hella heartburn.
Tums, dude. Tums is the way to go.
That's what I just did. Right before you texted me saying, hey, call me, I had just popped heartburn. Some Tums, the like the OG chalky ones that are like maybe fruit flavored, but also probably not.
The chewy ones are the best.
Those are infinitely better, but also don't have them.
Yeah, that helps. Dude, we stock up on that.
See, I don't get heartburn as much as I used to when I smoke cigarettes.
Oh, are you done smoking cigs again?
Yeah, I haven't had a cigarette since fucking 2019, dude.
Did you say since 2019? It's only 3 months into 2020, bro. 4 months. Just starting the 4th month. It was December 31st at 11:59. You took a drag.
What is up, you mutants? Welcome back to another episode of the Fetch and Shock podcast. I am your host, the Professor Xavier of Magic, Tyler, and joining me, as always, is my co-host, the Magneto of MTG, Matt. Matt, what is going on, dude?
Nothing, man. Just checking out some spoilers.
You know what? I was worried that we were going to run out of things to talk about during this quarantine, but Ikoria just came around right at the exact time that we needed.
It was timed perfectly. And
it came with the good and came with the bad. I don't know if you were on Twitter at all on the day of it being spoiled, but Twitter was fucking unusable. It was so bad.
Yeah, it was just that was all it was.
There was a lot of complaining about this set. There is a very diverse opinion about this set. Either people are way into it or people are not into it.
Hey, dude, people like complaining.
You're right. That seems to be a reoccurring theme. Weird. Well, speaking of complaining, you know what's fun to complain about?
Everything.
Yeah, but specifically, you know what's fun to complain about?
What's that?
Losing in Magic the Gathering. And you know what we like? You know what we hate losing to? Cards that we hate. That's a segue to our question of the week from last week.
I was wondering, I was like, what the hell are you talking about?
Yeah,
that makes more sense.
I knew that you were a little lost. We got you there. We held your hand. We found you. We found the road for you.
We got there.
You're like that little kid that's lost in like the supermarket.
Sure, we'll go with that.
You know, we had a lot of good responses to our question of the week we asked, because we obviously went over our least favorite cards of all time last week. So we had to ask the people what cards they hated the most. We got some good ones. One that I did not expect, but Corey coming in with some insight. He said Leyline of Sanctity.
He plays Burn and 8-rack.
Yeah, but
the card is the bane of his existence.
I never lose to that card. But like, now that I'm thinking about it, everything that Corey does, he loses to that.
Yeah, that is very true.
Yeah, he just gets wrecked by that card. That feels really bad. He
Play
might lose to that
decks.
card harder than I lose to Kolaghan's Command.
Yeah, maybe. That's entirely possible.
But, and then also Dave Morris, he said, this is a good one, Chalice of the Void. Chalice wasn't in any of our top 8s, was it? Or top 5s, was it?
I think it was in my...
honorable mention.
Yeah, I honestly don't remember. I delete them generally after.
You just like from your brain, from your computer, from just existence altogether.
Yeah, 100%.
They just cease to exist after we get through them. Chalice of the Void's a real good one.
It really is.
I think we might have talked about that one though, because I remember us having a conversation about Chalice Check and how fun that is.
I think it was on my list.
Maybe it was.
But I don't remember, like I said.
This is how awful our attention spans have gotten.
It's here and gone. Cool. You're done.
And then another one, which I thoroughly enjoyed, was Roy. His passionate hatred for Blood Moon fucking had me dying.
Yeah, passion is the key to life, apparently, unless it's
I loved it.
Blood Moon.
He specifically, and I quote, "Fuck Blood Moon. It can die in a fiery pit of cum."
That is that's a strong opinion.
I read that, it was just immediately just like, yep, you just had the exact sentiment that I have for almost every card on my top 8 or on my top 5.
Yeah, people hate cards very strongly, no doubt about it.
But people definitely hate cards, and I'm not immune to that. But you know what, Matt? People also love cards.
People do also love cards.
You know what kind of cards I'm particularly fond of?
White border.
Yes, I am. And just white cards in general, whether it's the border or the actual color identity of the card themselves. But regardless of the color, I think we can all get down with some brand new Magic the Gathering cards.
There are quite a few, too.
Oh, we got hit with the mother load.
Yeah, they're coming out hard and fast.
Oh, hell yeah. So, for those of you who didn't check it out, this past Thursday, they had the spoiler stream for Ikoria. Matt, did you check out the spoiler stream at all?
Nope, not one bit.
I watched I didn't watch it as it happened, but I watched the replay that they put on YouTube afterwards, and it was actually super sweet the way that they did it. They had like an intro where it was almost played like a QVC type thing, which I was like, okay, that's unique and different, but like I didn't really care about it one way or the other. And then it would like cut out and fade to like a view of a city, and then like a big dragon like shadow flying over the city, and then cut back to like the QVC thing, and then it would cut away to like a boat in the middle of the sea, and then a big like sea creature swimming underneath it, like the shadow of it, and then cut back to QVC style thing. I was like, oh shit, this is actually tight.
Yeah, that's actually pretty cool.
I liked the fuck out of that.
I'll probably check it out.
They moved into the actual stream where they were spoiling cards, but before that, they played the trailer for the set.
With the big dinos, I'm sure that was pretty good.
Oh my god, did you see it?
No.
First of all, they moved away from the shitty covers, which I'm happy with. So now they actually just decided to buy rights to real songs, and they actually got a good song. They played Bad Reputation by Joan Jett and the Blackhearts. I was like, oh yeah.
Going deep.
Oh yeah. And it was like Vivian just being all badass and like killing a big old creature with like her little flying cat thing. And then this like big spire in the background like lights up like almost like a volcano. And then the creature that they killed comes back to life and stuff. And it's just like, whoo, this might be the best one so far. I know people are soft for the War of the Spark one, but I think this one might trump it.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, it's so good. If you haven't watched it, which Matt, you haven't, so you should go watch it at some point. It is.
Yeah, well, because the War of the Spark one was pretty dope.
I think it's better than but I think the music in the War of the Spark one ruined it.
Why is that?
Just like, I don't know. Wasn't a big fan of the song choice. Like, if they would have played something different behind the War of the Spark one, I could see myself maybe liking it more. But it's just like, it seemed kind of corny.
Yeah, I'll check. I'll have to. I didn't pay attention to the music, honestly. I'll have to check out the new trailer. The
new one's really good. And you could tell they're putting effort into these trailers now. Because I'm pretty sure we talked about this when the War of the Spark one came out, but we remember the good old days where the trailers were just animated versions of the card art.
Yeah, and them shitty moving around.
Yeah, with like the budget animations, which at the time were like, they were cool. And then like somebody narrating as a planeswalker behind it, like the story behind the card. Now it's just a song and all of the storytelling is going on with the visuals, and the visuals are out of this fucking world. Like the animation is just insane. It's like movie style animation, like shit you would expect from like a high budget animated film.
That's pretty cool. Oh, they're slowly working towards that cartoon.
Hey, hopefully someday. I mean, if there was ever a time for that to come out, right now would be the time, dude.
Yeah. Would they have the time? Yeah.
I would kill for the Magic animated thing to come out right now, just so I could just sit and binge it.
That's where we're at in life, is just, what can I binge now? I took my dog on a 45-mile walk now.
That has legitimately been my life, especially since like Vintage Cube is gone. But Vintage Cube is gone. They did replace it with Modern Horizons draft, though.
Oh, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, so I'm happy with that. I've also been playing a ton of Commander.
Yeah, that's what you were saying.
Yeah, me and the homies started our own little like sub format of Commander, which we're calling Wooden Nickel. And I am in love with the format.
Nickel.
Wooden Nickel. The idea behind the format is no card in your deck, including your Commander, can be more than 5 cents on Moto. So 0.05 tickets.
You were telling me a little bit about this before.
Oh, dude, it's so sweet. Because the decks, like, they're $2 after everything's said and done. Like, once you build your deck, it's you go on Card Hoarder and you just buy it for $2.
Yeah, so worth it.
Oh my god, it's awesome. I brewed 5 decks in like the past week. Like, I brewed Una, like a blue-black mill deck. I did Triad of Fates, which is just Orzhov Bounce. I did an Admiral Beckett Brass Pirate Commander deck. I did a Renata. She's one of the uncommons from Theros, that whenever you play a creature, it gets an additional or it gets a +1/+1 counter when it enters.
Okay.
And I did Kazarov. He's like the Dominaria vampire that you can ping something for 2 and a black, the Rakdos guy, or for 2 and a red, 3 and a red actually. And it's just all pinger creatures, because every time a creature an opponent controls is dealt damage, he gets a counter. I played this game on Magic Online, and then just by like turn like 10 of the game, my commander was just a 27/27 with hexproof, because I put
That's
lightning.
That's a good way to end it.
Yeah, I put lightning greaves on my commander, made it a 27/27, and then just like one shot at each of my opponents, like one after another after another. Yeah,
That will do it, I guess, especially when everything is 0.5 cents online.
Oh, when I was doing that, I was playing in
Or
like the
5 cents
normal
online.
Commander room. I wasn't playing in like
people
with my friends. I was playing against like real Commander decks and just like going after it, which just shows like the coolness of Commander, that I can just be playing a deck that's. I'm looking at my Kazarov deck right now, and on Magic Online, this exact deck list is $1.95.
Yeah, that's a super cheap way to play Magic, I guess.
Oh, it's sweet.
That's
and it's
cheaper
like
than Pauper.
Oh my goodness, by a landslide, it's cheaper than Pauper. And there's some wild shit. Like in Garrick's Wake, the one Wrath for everything but your shit, that somehow was under 5 cents on Magic Online.
Doesn't spread. I'll never understand Magic Online pricing.
That's fair. But like Lightning Greaves, that card's insane, under 5 cents. Just all this cool, crazy shit. But you don't get to play Soul Ring, and you don't get to play like any of the other dumb busted cards. Like Smothering Ties, obviously not. Cyclonic Rift, definitely not.
Rhystic Study,
definitely not. So, like, you also don't have to deal with stupid shit, which is very nice. So, if any of you nerds out there want to join the Wood Nickel gang, I actually made a Discord with me and my friends. But if you want to be a part of this Discord and join in this thing, just reach out to me on Twitter at Basic Land Bin. That's a plug, and you can be a part of the Wood Nickel gang, and we'll play some Commander, because that's like what I've been doing.
Hey, got to do something to kill time, right?
Amen. Well, speaking of Commander, that's actually a decent segue into some of the spoilers that we were starting to talk about before we got on our little tangent.
And there are some. One was preemptively banned in Commander.
Oh, that one's one of the actual sets. I'm talking about like the Commander 2020, because that spoiler stream was for Ikoria and Commander 2020, because they're being released like coinciding with each other.
Yeah, that makes sense.
But like they are still distinct decks. There is some overlap, at least from like what I'm seeing from the Commanders so far, but nothing too wild. I know there's the one that you sent me and you were like, holy shit, this card is really good.
Yeah, there's definitely some of those.
Yeah, like the one that we're talking about right now is Gabby Nestwarden, and she is a legendary creature for 2, a blue, a red, and a white. She's a 2/5 human shaman, and you may pay 0 rather than pay the cycling cost for the first card you cycle each turn. And then when you draw your second card each turn, which is just when you cycle, you create a 2/2 red-white dinosaur cat creature token.
Or cycling twice on someone else's turn.
Yeah, or you could just do something. Yeah, or you could just cast something that draws you 2 cards on your opponent's turn too. Like it's not exclusively cycling, which is really nice. Like there's a chance you could just build this deck with like very few cycling cards with just the ability to draw a ton of cards on your opponent's turn.
Yeah, and just make some 2/2 guys. Dinosaur cats, to be specific.
Yeah. I mean, all these commanders are really, really cool. And I like the fact that none of them say, like, draw a card on them. Those are the least exciting cards.
Yeah, I would agree with you.
But, like, boy, there are some sweet ones. And there's 5 of them, which is cool. Because sometimes we don't get a actual 5 new commander cards. Sometimes there are new commander decks. Sometimes there's only 4, and that kind of seems like, I wish we would have gotten the full boat. This time we do get the full boat.
Yeah, that's always fun to get everything, and then you can actually see stuff and go from there.
Another one that I saw that is out of this world is Calamax, the Storm Sire.
Which one is that? Jesus.
This card is sick. It is 1 green, blue, red for a 4/4 legendary creature, Elemental Dinosaur. And then whenever you cast your first instant speed spell each turn, if Calamax is tapped, copy that spell. You may choose a new target for that copy.
Oh, I know what you're talking about. Yeah, that's real dumb. Whenever you
copy a spell, you put a counter on this bad boy. He's a 4/4 for 4.
Yep.
My one gripe.
Super powerful card.
I wish he had haste. I know that's a little fucking pushed. That's a little too much.
A little bit?
Yeah, okay. Maybe a lot.
Just a little bit pushed.
But just being able to just get in with this guy and then just be like, oh, I'm just gonna copy everything from here on out. And I think I've mentioned mechanics like this before, where it like kind of teaches new players like the most optimal way to cast spells without being too obvious. Like, because just generally you want to wait to cast all of your creatures and your sorcery spells in your second main phase after you've went through combat. But sometimes that's not
try to get their tricks
obvious.
or try to get them to spend some mana, etc.
Exactly. But like that's not super obvious to brand new players. But this card makes it like just an obvious bonus to do that. So it gets newer players or unexperienced players into the swing of casting things in their second mage phase. So shit like this I'm just like all on board.
Yeah, I agree.
But yeah, I mean, the other new commanders, like, they're cool, but those are the two that I'm really into.
The one I like is the Sultai one.
Oh, the Sultai one. I like that.
I'm trying to find it.
You're talking about, I believe it's Otrimi, the Ever Playful. First of all, killer name. He's a Nightmare Beast, which is a sick creature type. And he is 3 mana plus a black, a green, and a blue. So shocker, Matt likes a Sultai card. He's a 6/6, and he has Mutate, which is a mechanic from the new set. His Mutate cost is 1, a black, a green, and a blue. He also has Trample, and whenever this creature deals combat damage to a player, return target creature card with Mutate from your graveyard to your hand.
No, that's not the one I'm talking about.
Oh, you're not talking about the Sultai one?
No, I don't think that's it.
Oh, I think you might be talking about the Abzan one.
I'm trying to find them. I'm going back over to Mythic Spoiler. I always have better luck to figure out what I'm actually talking about.
You might be having problems because you're looking at Ikoria spoilers and not the Commander spoilers?
I thought I was in the Commander spoiler.
Maybe not.
I don't know. I couldn't tell you. That might be it. I think I'm in the wrong place. So I'm an idiot. Technology's hard sometimes.
Technology is hard. But, I mean, Otrimi is a pretty sick card if you have the ability to just, like, continue to recur these Mutate cards. It remains to be seen how good Mutate is. It is a complicated mechanic.
Yeah, it's definitely a bit strange.
It's real wordy. So, I mean, let's talk about Mutate right now while we're talking about this Commander guy, and then we can talk about it a little bit more.
Explain it.
When we go into the actual meat of what Ikoria has to offer. So Mutate is a second ability, or is an ability on a card that gives you the ability to cast it, but you cast it onto another non-human creature that you own.
It's a mixing of...
Yeah, go ahead.
For the older players out there, it's a mix of banding and what's the bestow you said, right?
Bestow, yeah.
It's kind of combination of that.
That's how I've been explaining it to anybody who's asked me, because me and my friends have had a conversation about it where they're just like, this seems like a lot. And I'm like, well, think about it like Bestow, except for it has nothing to do with power and toughness. It's just the ability. You're almost casting it like an enchantment, except for you can choose which power and toughness you want. So you put it on the battlefield mutated to another creature, non-human, that you control. And it either goes on top or below that creature. Whatever creature is on top, that is the base power and toughness that you're working with. So if you're casting
this guy, either way.
Yeah, if you're casting this mutate guy, or if you're casting a mutate creature, we're speaking specifically about Otrimi right now, you're going to mutate him onto something. If you put him on top, you're getting your 6/6. But then he retains any ability of the card below him. And so he still has trample, and he still has, whenever this creature deals combat damage, you get to return something with mutate from your graveyard to your hand, which is his ability. But let's say this other card has like flying, and whenever you deal combat damage to a player, draw a card. Whenever you deal combat damage to a player, first of all, you have a flying trample, 6/6, and whenever you deal combat damage, you get to do both things.
No. They mutate into the creature on top, and then the abilities come from the creature on the bottom.
Yeah, so but the flying would be... So he still has flying.
Yeah, but he wouldn't have trample.
No, because he has trample himself.
It's not how it reads.
Yeah, because it retains its abilities.
No, the abilities come from the card underneath. They mutate into the creature on top, plus all abilities from under it. Oh, yeah, I guess they would. Never mind.
Yeah, I'm an idiot. No, he maintains all of his abilities.
I was reading that wrong. I was reading as power, toughness, the creature on top, and then you get the abilities from the creature on the bottom. But no, you get best of both worlds. Cool.
Yeah, so basically, the way that you can think about it is just both the creatures, whatever amount of creatures that you have stacked in your mutate creature, everything that any of those creatures would do or have, that one creature has.
Yep.
The only thing that doesn't change with that is the power and toughness. Whichever creature you choose to be on top when you mutate is the power and toughness.
Yep.
So if you would ever want to change the power and toughness, you would have to re-mutate another card on top of it, like a brand new card on top of it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's my bad. I was reading that incorrectly.
You're
new
good,
mechanic, leave me alone.
So yeah, Mutate is one, I mean, as we just covered, is going to be a pain in the dick for a lot of players.
Yep, it's going to be confusing.
It is not very...
No, not at all. But that's fine.
But it is super unique, and it is a cool... It's going to be cool in gameplay. I almost guarantee it.
Yeah, I agree. It's going to make some interesting stacks of creatures.
Yeah. Now, the other commander that I think that you were referring to is the Cathril aspect.
I was actually looking at the Ikoria cards.
Oh, were you?
Yeah, that's... we'll talk about Homeboy.
Oh, we'll get to whatever card you're thinking about. Well, let's talk about this one real quick, because this guy's fucking sweet too. So, Cathril is 2, a white, a black, and a green for a 3/3 legendary creature Nightmare Insect. These creature types for these commanders are also fucking awesome.
Yeah, there's a lot of art too. It's just bad, like bad good.
Yo, it's fucking very cool. But whenever Cathril enters the battlefield, put a flying counter on any creature you control if a creature card in your graveyard has flying. Repeat this process for First Strike, Double Strike, Death Touch, Hexproof, Indestructible, Lifelink, Menace, Reach, Trample, and Vigilance. Then you put a +1/+1 counter on Cathril for each counter put on a creature this way. That segues us nicely into another brand new ability from the new set, Ikoria, which is ability counters is what we're calling them, I guess.
Yeah, the best way to put it. So you put a counter on it, but instead of a +1/+1 or -1/-1, that counter grants First Strike, Haste, whatever, Flying, Trample, Menace, Lifelink. It grants an evergreen ability.
Yes, which is so neat.
Yeah, it's wild.
Like, have you ever wanted one of your favorite creatures in the entire history of Magic to have an evergreen ability that it doesn't currently have?
Well, there you can go.
Well, guess what? Here it is. Here's your ability. Just put a counter on it. And for people out there who are wondering, like, oh, well, how is this going to be represented in gameplay? Again, it is going to be a bit complicated, kind of like how Mutate's going to be complicated.
I think those are going to be a little bit easier. If you remember to Amonkhet, they had the punch-out cards. I think it's going to be something similar.
They have on I believe the original spoiler page, they spoiled like one of the insert cards, and it does look like it's going to be a similar thing where it is like you just press out the paper counter and you just throw it on the creature whenever you get a trigger that puts that particular counter on it.
Yeah, that seems like it would be the easiest to do it that way.
But I mean, think about a time where you don't have these counters. Like, that's going to be a little tricky.
Paper and a pen, dude. That's going to be your best bet.
The thing is too, paper and a pen is always going to be your best move. This just is a little awkward because you remember during, what was it, Amonkhet, when it had the exert counters?
Yeah, people just pulled it out of the sleeve.
Exactly. There was that little unspoken rule that whenever you attacked with something and exerted, if you didn't have the counter, you just like lifted it out of your sleeve just to show that that's being exerted, and then it doesn't untap during your untap step. This doesn't really have that ability to do that. It's not like you can just like half take this out of the sleeve and be like, oh, this creature has Death Touch now.
Yes, just one of these 10 counter in the set.
I mean, I know what I'm going to do. Whenever I play these cards, I'm just going to get a Sharpie and just write on the art, like, Death Touch.
Oh,
First
brutal.
Strike. And then just whenever that
circle it.
Just going to scratch it out and then just run it down. And then by the end of whatever, like, pre-release or whatever I'm playing, I'm just going to have a card that has no visible text on it, just my shitty, crusty handwriting in Sharpie, just scratched out a million times.
Gotta do different color Sharpie over top of each other.
Oh, just like take the art, black it out, and then write in silver Sharpie, and then the next game you just silver it out and then write over in black Sharpie, and then black it out and write over silver Sharpie, and then just ad nauseum until there's a layer of Sharpie on top of your card that's like 1.5 inches thick, and then you get called for marked cards.
Judge call. Yeah. Exactly.
It's inevitable. So let's close out the Commander talk. I mean, I'm excited for this. I mean, I've been getting more into Commander. I don't know if any of these are going to fit into Wood and Nickel, but they might.
Probably not.
I would assume not.
Pretty powerful stuff so far.
But they might give us cool cards. I mean, these cards on their surface have the potential to be very cool commanders, especially Gavri with the cycling. That already is going to be a sick commander. And the cards that are going to be in it are probably going to be fucking awesome. Like, there's going to be at least a handful of new cycling cards that are just going to be like, oh, yeah, this is obvious. This is obviously an insane card.
Yeah, I already saw someone post something. There's like an Armageddon that you cycle it, destroy all land.
Ooh.
Yeah, it's like, okay, well, fuck.
Already getting shitty with it. I like it.
Yeah, someone's like, well, my play group is...
Yep, people are going to people. That is for sure.
People are going to people, for sure.
Quote of the year. But back to the... Let's move on to Ikoria. The actual meat and potatoes of it. The first thing that was really talked about during the Ikoria stream that I took notice to was the fact that there's a little collaboration going on with this new set.
What could it be with?
It is with the known IP that I obviously haven't heard about in forever, Godzilla.
Yeah, some fucking sweet art.
Oh yeah, we have gotten
some of those are wild.
Yeah, so Magic, and from the stream they gave us a little bit more insight into it, where the Asian department for Wizards of the Coast and Magic the Gathering, they reached out to Toho, which owns the intellectual property for all the Godzilla stuff, and they're like, hey, do you think we could do the thing with your thing? And they're like, oh yeah, sure, yeah, you do the thing. So now we have the things, and the things are going to be sweet, like alternate art versions of creatures in the set, but unlike anything
names
we've ever seen before. We have like creatures with alternate names.
Yeah, same exact abilities, but different names.
Yeah, so there are going to be, I don't know if these are going to be in actual packs or if you can only get these from collector boosters, because I know you could get, like, in previous versions of this, you could get the collector booster versions of the cards in actual packs. They were just a little bit more rare to find. I don't know if this is going to be the same thing.
Yeah, who knows? I had a good, like, how is that going to work with Commander?
So they did kind of cover this on the stream a little bit.
Okay.
These cards, in all gameplay functionality, are the cards that they are representing.
Okay, that makes sense.
So whether it's like the Baby Godzilla version of the one card, or the Godzilla Primeval Champion version of the card, or the Mothra version of the card, regardless of whether it has that alternate name, it is still going to function as the original one. Here, this is the Mothra Supersonic Queen. That's the alternate version, but the card itself is Luminous Broodmoth. And for all intents and purposes in gameplay, it is just Luminous Broodmoth. It just has a nickname, which is Mothra.
Yeah, it's Mothra.
Yeah, so we have
obviously.
So we have these sweet, like, Toho collab, Godzilla collab versions of these cards, which the arts are fucking they're
so good.
Oh, the arts are insane. My only qualm with this is that they are so goddamn.
Yeah, there's a lot to process, for sure.
This has been the most confusing set I have ever seen. Like, and I've seen unsets. I have seen Conspiracy. I have seen Battle Bond. They have tried to confuse me multiple times, and I've been like, no, I'm too wise for your tricks. And then they pulled out different names for cards, and I'm like, whoa. Pump the fucking brakes with. Like, you've got me totally thrown with it.
Yeah, they just said, here's this. Get fucked. Have fun figuring it out.
But once you get past the confusion, these are fucking sweet.
Yeah. No, you're not wrong.
But that's not even
sir, are not wrong.
That's not even the only, like, special art cards that we got either. Like, we're also going to have other versions of these cool cards in collector boosters, but they're not different names. They have the same name of the card, but they're like almost kind of like comic book style, like hyper saturated, big bold line art versions of these cards. And I am more partial to these than I think I am of the Godzilla versions.
It's called New School, isn't it? Tattoos,
stuff it's like not that, even like
big bold colors and fatty lines. Yeah,
it's kind of similar to that. You're kind of right, but the saturation of these colors, man, it's just like, woo! These are just
the color palette.
Wild. They're so bright. Like, they're so in your face and bright. And they have like the full art treatment where the card art goes behind the text box and the text box is kind of translucent. Pretty sick stuff, honestly.
This set looks fun. Looks good.
I mean, I brought this up to you earlier and you disagreed, but I'm interested to see how it shakes out. This set, as far as design-wise, is reminding me a lot like
Cons
of Tarkir.
You know what it reminds me of?
What?
Yu-Gi-Oh! Or Pokemon.
I've seen so many people being like, oh, this is Yu-Gi-Oh! Now. Cool. And the one correlation that I am pulling from that is they are starting to throw in like the hyper rare versions of cards where it's like, oh, in Pokemon you can get like the rare, but like also you can get like the extended art version of that rare, and you can get a like hollow version that's like gold of that rare, and then you can get like a rainbow version of that rare, and all these different things where it's like 30 versions of one card.
Yeah, it's a Commander player's wet dream.
I mean, these are 100% the coolest versions of cards we've. But how about we talk about some actual cards, eh?
Yeah, I'm fine with that. There's some spicy meatballs.
The first one that I want to talk about is one of the first cards that we have seen from the set, which is a card that we mentioned, Luminous Broodmoth.
Yeah, Jesus Christ, Wizards. Why you gotta do us like this?
Talk about making white cards great again.
I don't know if anyone's broken it yet. We talked about this a little bit earlier. Someone was playing around with it with
Solemnity.
Things can't have counters placed on them.
Yeah, so it's just like every time something dies, you just get it back, and then at infinitely get that back.
Yeah, seems okay.
I mean, you do just have to deal with the Broodmoth, and like so I guess we could talk about the card. So Luminous Broodmoth is 2 colorless and 2 white for a 3/4 flying creature. It's an insect. And then whenever a creature you control without flying dies, return it to the battlefield under your control with a flying counter on it. So this is going back to that abilities counter thing that we talked about before, where now you can just give creatures evergreen ability.
With the counter.
Mm-hmm. So if that creature would die again with the flying counter on it, it obviously doesn't come back. But like you said, with something that prevents a counter or something that takes off a counter, because I'm sure that that's another way to bust it, you just get those creatures back infinitely.
Yeah.
Yeah, this card is sick.
You can get infinite ETB abilities with that and 2 Vampire Hex Mages for the fuck of it.
You can do that. I mean, and like you can do that with like a Blood Artist effect.
That one's a little jankier, but I'm sure someone will come out with something. That's just a matter of time before. It may not be good, but there's a better version of it out there.
Oh, for sure. I mean, people are even throwing around like how they did the Solemnity thing. If you just have a creature that sacks and deals damage, like what's that one goblin, that 1/1 goblin with haste that you can sack and deal damage to any creature?
Oh, from Amonkhet. Amonkhet?
Yep, I think so.
I don't know the name of it. I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, but I mean, there's also a million different creatures. Like Murderous Redcap works with that as well.
Yeah, you just need a sack outlet.
Yeah, you just need a creature that sacrifices, and when it dies, it deals damage, or when it enters the battlefield, deals damage.
We didn't even need the Broodmoth for that.
True, but this just kind of opens up that door.
But yeah, there's definitely some things that weren't there before, but now they're always going to come back. And if they don't have a counter, cool.
Yeah, exactly. Another card that we saw early off on the first day of spoilers, which I thought was just fucking wild, and I feel like nobody's talking about, is a new Planeswalker, Luca Coppercoat Outcast.
Yeah.
He does some things.
Him and his kitty cat tear the world up.
Oh, yeah, they coming. Him and his cat. Also,
they coming for you.
Have you watched the Tiger King documentary series?
Yeah.
This guy gives off big
it's
Tiger
fucking
King
great.
energy,
Yeah.
which I love.
That dude for sure breeds tigers and feeds them leftover Walmart meat.
We already have the backstory for this.
That is
Crazy
Joe
that
Exotic.
Wizards didn't only collab with the Godzilla company to give us Godzilla cards, but they also did a collaboration with Joe Exotic to give us a Joe Exotic card.
Absolutely. Why would they not do that?
This is his invitational card. When he won the invitational,
When he went to jail.
he got to make a card.
Yeah.
And this is the one that he made. And he's like, let's make a busted 5-mana Planeswalker. At least we don't have a busted 3-mana play yet. Just a 5-mana one.
Yeah, you just fucking ruined it. You know they're going
to... I just damned us all. We're going to get another Oko. Well, at least this guy's reasonably costed. I guess we can go over what he does.
Nope. Figure it out.
So Luca is 3 red for a 5 loyalty planeswalker. His plus ability is exile the top 3 cards of your library. Creature cards exiled this way gain. You may cast this card from exile as long as you control a Luca planeswalker. Sure, pretty good. His -2 ability
That's where the money's at.
Is so good. You exile target creature you control, then reveal cards from the top of your library until you reveal a creature card with a higher converted mana cost. Put that card onto the battlefield.
I had to read that like 4 times just to make sure I was reading it correctly.
Because it's insane. But you put that card on the battlefield, and then you put the rest of the cards revealed that way in a random order on the bottom of your library.
And that's it.
Yeah. So let's just say you use some mana guys to ramp this guy out. And the only mana guys in your deck are 1 mana creatures. Let's say you throw this guy down on turn 3, and then you go ahead and just immediately -2 him, sacking your Elvish Myth. Then you just start flipping cards from the top of your library. Oh, weird that you just happen to only put 1 copy of Emrakul in your library and no other creatures above 1 mana.
Weird.
Here's a turn 3 Emrakul. Taste it.
You can also, this could be a nice little addition to that polymorph deck.
Yeah.
That's using Dwarven, the Throne of Eldraine land.
Yes. I wasn't even thinking about that. I was just thinking go get the biggest idiot in all of Magic's history for the low cost of sacrificing one of your shitty dumb creatures.
That's probably the better way to do it.
Okay, fair.
Because you do need, you would still need both those pieces, and it costs 1 more. It's possible it's just an additional polymorph effect.
Yeah, it could just easily be that. But this guy's sick.
Like, this dude's plus ability isn't nothing either.
No, his plus ability does real things.
That is card advantage.
And it's not just like a little bit of card
advantage.
Yeah, I mean, it's card advantage in the red way.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, in a properly built deck, this guy just says, like, draw 3 cards.
Yeah. Oh, hey, cast these dudes.
Yeah.
Kobolds. Kobolds are making a comeback.
That's it, everybody. We broke it.
You think I'm kidding? I'm just drawing 3 kobolds every turn.
Matt, do you got any cards you like to speak about now? I've already went through 2.
So this hold on, let me bring it back. It is Sultai, and it's Brokos, Apex of Forever. So its regular cost is 2 black, green, blue for a 6/6 trample, and its ability is you may cast Brokos, Apex of Forever from your graveyard using its mutate ability, and it mutates for 2 hybrid blue, black, green, black, green.
Oh, and he has trample too.
Yeah, so just a recursive threat.
I mean, he's also a 6/6 for 5 with trample.
Yeah, nothing to scoff at.
Like, just being able to
broken thing. Yeah, not the most broken thing, but really good.
I mean, just getting it back is insane, right?
Yeah, just, you killed this? Okay, here it is again.
And all you have to do is just put it onto a non-human?
Yeah, and if they counter it or something, it's like, okay, do it again
let's
next
try
turn.
this again.
Yeah.
I mean, we've already seen so many cards in the past year that have been able to be cast from your graveyard that are insane. I mean, look at Uro right now. He's in this color combination.
Yep.
And you can cast him essentially from your graveyard for very little effort. And he just ruins formats. Like, he's just crushing. Like, he's making splashes in Modern. There are decks in Legacy that are playing him big time. Standard, I don't really follow Standard, but from what I've seen, he seems like he's really putting the screws to that.
Yeah, it seems like it, doesn't it?
Yeah, and another thing. Are they just getting lazy with their busted Sultai cards names? Like, we called Oko Broko for so long, and they just put an S on the end of it and then printed this fucking guy.
This honestly was probably already designed when Oko was printed.
I mean, but they could have changed the name.
They could have. That's true.
There's like, fuck it, call it Broko. I don't give a shit.
That's fair.
Wait, hold on. Add another K. Okay, we're good.
Yeah. They'll never know.
No. Put an S on the end of it, too.
Yeah. That is one that piqued my eye just because I love Sultai value stuff. The other one, my lizard brain, Death's Oasis. It is Abzan, so white, black, green for an enchantment. And it reads, whenever a non-token creature you control dies, put the top 2 cards of your library into your graveyard. Then, return a creature card with lesser converted mana cost than the creature that died from your graveyard to your hand. And then for a colorless, you can sacrifice this and gain life equal to the greatest converted mana cost among creatures you control.
Huh. Matt, you smell that?
So I smell something spicy in the works.
Yeah, it smells a little bit like a combination.
Which I've been known to like.
Yeah, that seems like that card's right up your fucking ass.
And then,
it's
sorry, go on. Yeah.
Yeah, this card's nuts.
There's a lot of just good, solid cards in here.
This set is sick.
My favorite card that I will try to play in Vintage is already preemptively banned in Commander.
Oh, we've talked about this card off air, but I have some words and some feelings about this guy.
Yeah, in Otter News, I really liked it.
Oh, you did it!
It is Lutri, the Spell Chaser. It is 1 blue-red hybrid, legendary creature, elemental otter. See what I did there? It is a 3/2, and it has companion. So I'll read the card and then I'll explain companion. Its companion, the criteria to meet is each non-land card in your starting deck has a different name. It has flash. When Lutri, the Spell Chaser, enters the battlefield, if you cast it, copy target instant or sorcery spell you control. You may choose new targets for the copy.
So it's a fork.
Yes, it is a fork.
Yeah. Well, and to be more clear about companion is a new mechanic to Ikoria, and it is a deck building mechanic, which is something I don't think we've really ever seen.
No. So the companion criteria that you have to meet for this card, each non-land card in your starting deck has a different name. And companion is, if this card is your chosen companion, you may cast it once from outside the game. So you can cast this from your sideboard. And it has flash, so you can fork something.
Yeah.
A spell of your choice.
Okay. And that is like the idea of companion. Like we said, it's a deck building mechanic. So there's multiple cards, which I will talk about a few of them next, because I dig this mechanic because it's built around deck building. So you have to meet the criteria of whatever this card demands for you to be its companion. And then you get to be able to just like summon it just from outside the game, because you guys are that tight. You guys are buddies.
Yeah, he's just coming to hang out.
Yeah, he's just your homie. So if you guys are so tight that you, at least for this guy specifically for Lutri, if you guys are so sick that your entire deck is singletons outside of lands, then you just get to, just have him as like a secret 8th card in your opening hand.
Yeah, that you always have access to.
And like
as long
you said,
as you meet that deck building requirement.
Yeah, exactly. And like you said, he's already banned on day 1, like moments after he was spoiled, already banned in Commander.
Yep, they're like, yep, this is banned. This is ridiculous.
Which I have some feelings about that. I think it's pretty obvious that this guy specifically is just so fucking good if you just like don't have to have him in your deck. But Commander has been notoriously a format without sideboards. Like, you can't play any wish cards in Commander because you don't have a sideboard. You can't do anything like that. So, like, none of the companion cards, in my mind, should be really legal unless they're in your 99.
I don't think it's that. I think it's the flash fork thing.
I mean, just the ability, because the companion cost or the companion restriction for this guy is just the Commander format. It's like you don't have to work for it, where there's other guys that, if you really wanted them to be your companion, which you can, you have to work for it and you have to actually build your deck around it. You can't play those other guys without building that or without building your deck within those companion constraints. But like, that's still, even if you do build your deck within those companion constraints, one, I think your deck is just worse, and you're only doing it for like whatever marginal ability that you get from this guy, from one of these other guys just being able to be cast. It's just like feels very not Commander to me to have this card from outside the game that you can now just, cast.
Yeah, and that's probably why they preemptively said no.
Well, they preemptively said no to Lutri, but you can do it with these other companion creatures.
Yeah.
Like, that feels very anti-Commander to me.
They might change it where it's like, okay, you get, this is like a new special zone or whatever. This is your chosen companion.
But even then, that's still super... Like, sure, you have your Commander, but that should be, in my mind, the only card Like, the Commander is the defining format of Commander. I know that's a crazy statement to make, but that Commander should be the only card that is allowed to be able to do that. Now you just have a Commander and a Companion? Like, what's even going on?
I get your point. Yeah, it's definitely a strange zone.
And I just think it's unfair for them to say Lutri, just out of every single concept of Modern, or of Commander, sorry, he's banned. I genuinely think, like, he would be totally fine as your actual Commander, or he'd be totally fine as one of the 99 cards in your deck.
Yeah,
as a
sure.
Companion, he's busted. He's so good, but he's not like busted to the point where he's like so much better than all of the other Companion cards, except for the fact that his Companion thing is just exactly Commander.
I think that might be what did it, because it's literally just free to play then.
Sure, then banned him from being your Companion. There's cards banned from being your Commander.
Yeah, that's true.
So just ban him from being your Companion, then you can jam this guy as your Commander.
Yeah, that checks out. I would be fine with that. Then again, I don't really have much stake in Commander, so I don't care, but...
He's just so fucking cool.
Yeah. No, I get it.
And you just have Miz at Commander deck as one of the 99 cards in my deck.
Yeah, that should just be how Commander is, but I'm sure they'll make changes. They always do with stuff like that.
Yeah, you're right. I mean, because there's other Companion cards that people were pretty excited about, like Karuga, the Macro Sage. He's a 5 mana for 3 and 2 hybrid Simic mana. He's a 5/4, and he has whenever Karuga enters the battlefield, draw a card for each other permanent you control with converted mana cost 3 or greater. And he has Companion. To meet his Companion requirement, your starting deck has to contain only cards with converted mana cost 3 or greater, excluding lands.
There's going to be a lot of weird deck checks with these.
That's another thing with Companion. It's like a super weird, like, it almost seems like it's only focused towards online play. Like, this seems like a very specific arena mechanic.
Yeah, it's just easy to do there. Be like, well, this isn't your Companion.
Yeah, it's just like very hard in paper for this to be really like rained down upon. Unless you have like deck checks every round, or you have like global deck lists available to everybody at all times. Because like there's a chance that like you open this card at a pre-release, or let's say like somebody who this is their very first pre-release, they open this card and they're just like, oh cool, this guy's sweet, like, and they just like start building their deck, and then in their deck they throw like a 2-mana 2/2 in it, and they're just like, well, this guy gets to be my Companion, blah blah blah, and then they're playing against some hardo that is there to fucking try to scam packs from like little kids, because there's people out there that definitely do that.
Well, I don't even think it's that. It's just you need to learn how it works, and you learn by making mistakes. So if you go to cast it, be like, hey, you can't do that.
Yeah, but also think about the world where you're at a GP or something in limited, and then a high level player strategically puts like 2-mana spells in his deck to be able to deal with it, and then when those 2-mana spells come up, he uses them, and when they don't come up, they have this card sitting in their sideboard, and they just be like, oh, I cast this, and then if they draw one of those 2 cards, they're just like, oh, it's a dead card, but I also just got to cast a 5/4 for 5 and draw a bunch of cards. Like, doesn't matter.
Here's the thing about that. People who cheat always get caught cheating eventually.
Sure, but I mean, until they don't, there's going to be people that exploit it, and this seems like a mechanic ripe for the exploitation.
Yeah, I can see that. I don't think we can make things just for the 1% who are dickheads.
No, I agree. And you're 100% right. I guess this conversation stemmed from the fact that this seems like a mechanic that they put a lot of time and effort into because they know it's going to work on Arena.
Yeah, that's entirely possible.
And like really, it seems like paper Magic tournaments at this point are at a secondary thought. Because I don't think you could tell me that this would be a mechanic that existed before Arena existed.
Yeah. No.
Whether that's a good thing or bad thing, remains to be seen.
Yeah, there's only one way to find out, right?
Yep, got to play the cards.
But I see what you're saying. Like, you can't cheat online.
No, you definitely can't. Yeah, the computer's not going to let you do that.
Yeah, agreed.
But I guess to move off of that whole tirade, there's a little guy in this set that I really love, and he is an uncommon. I'm talking about my little buddy Sprite Dragon.
Yeah, that thing looks pretty cool.
Spray Dragon, sweet. What you know about a 2-mana 1/1 flyer with haste that just whenever you cast a non-creature spell, put a +1/+1 counter on it?
Yeah, seems pretty good.
What was that one wizard that was this exact
Storm
card?
Chaser. It had
Storm
prowess.
Chaser, but it had prowess instead of the counter. That card was very good.
It's also a 1/3 and not a 1/1.
Sure, this guy's a little soft.
Not for long.
But you know what this guy is, or you know what this guy isn't that Storm Chaser Mage is?
A fairy dragon.
Fairy Dragon, exactly. And you
Don't
know what
fuck with fairy dragons.
you can mutate a Fairy Dragon. You can't mutate a Storm Chaser Mage.
True.
So like what you know about playing this little Fairy Dragon and then just, playing a Brocus on it.
Yeah, 6/6. Sure. There's gonna be some
Just
nonsense that happens.
fucking
Absolutely.
And all absurd text on it. Like,
It's the size of a pixie, rage of a hellkite.
I love that. That's such good flavor text. What a crazy cool that so far.
Oh yeah, this thing could get out of hand really quickly.
Oh, for sure. Another thing I want to talk about, and we mentioned this before off air, but we got some mana rocks.
Yeah.
And these mana rocks are fucking instant commander staple.
Yeah, they're the banner cycle, but better because instead of sacking them to draw a card, they have cycling for 2.
Yeah, and this is they're 3 mana artifacts, and they tap for one of 3 colors. And the obviously the theme colors of the set are Temur, Sultai, Mardu, Abzan, Jeskai. So just like Cons of Tarkir. Yeah, but like you said, they're just 2 mana, 2 colorless or 2 generic cyclers, which they just immediately become some of the best 3 color mana rocks ever.
Yeah, that cycling adds a lot.
That's so much value. Because even think about some of just the normal mana rocks that exist for cycling, like Mindstone. Mindstone's a mainstay in Commander. You have to put more effort into Mindstone than you do this thing to draw a card.
Yeah, this is either 2 mana and draw a card, or a 3 mana rock. It's not a mana rock you play for 3 and then, 3 to crack the banners?
I believe so.
So yeah, quite a significant upgrade.
I mean, and just think like 2 sets ago, the mana rocks that we had in those were the sigils. Is that what they were called? From Ravnica League.
I honestly don't know.
Where you had
4
to pay...
mana ones.
No, they were 3 mana, and then you could tap for a color of whatever guild they were. But then for 3 hybrid mana of that guild, you could draw a card. These are just so much better than that shit.
I thought that was 4 mana to crack them.
Oh, yeah, they are. No, you're right. 4 mana to draw a card.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
You're right.
That's what I meant when I said 4 mana, not to play them.
Yeah, you're right. 100%. Though woo! These are so much better than that. That is leading me to believe that if these are in the limited format, sure they're uncommons, but
You're gonna pick these up though.
That helps a limited format a lot.
Cycling in general does, yeah.
Yeah, but not just cycling, but also this is going to have a lot of colors in this. Like, there's a chance that these are just first pickable over a lot of things.
I don't know about first pickable, but they're up there.
Depending on how the format shakes out, yeah. These are definitely something that if, like, you're never going to wheel these. You're probably going to take a bomb over these, but if you don't open a bomb, like whatever rare land you open in the format, assuming that you're not rare drafting, like just for value, you're going to scoop these.
Yeah, absolutely.
So these give me high hopes for whatever limited format this is going to look. Another card that we talked about before we started recording was Shivel, Bane of Monster. He's the first human I think we're talking about.
Which one is that?
He's the black-green 1/3 with Death Touch. He's a legendary.
Oh, that dude. Yeah, okay. Go ahead.
Yeah,
sorry, continue.
Yep. And then at your upkeep, my bad, at the beginning of your upkeep, if your opponents control no permanent with bounty counters on them, put a bounty counter on target creature or planeswalker and opponent controls. And then whenever a permanent an opponent controls with a bounty counter on it dies, you gain 3 life and you draw a card. This guy is pretty good.
Yeah, that's a free ability pretty much, and then removal spells are trading in combat. Yeah,
like even if he just comes down and then just blocks something that's way bigger than he is, you're gonna gain some life and draw some cards. I mean, at very worst, he comes down, puts a bounty counter on the scariest thing, and then it puts the fear into your opponent that there's like, can't attack with this guy ever, Because then not only does this guy die, but my opponent gets to gain 3 and draw a card. Like, that's terrifying.
Yeah, well, it won't happen as soon as it comes down. It's the beginning of your upkeep. So, say play this dude turn 2, your turn 3, put a bounty counter on something, and then it's like, okay.
Yeah.
If you have a removal spell, you could just do it right then and there. Or, like you said, you can hold back. And,
you can hold this guy back and block.
Yep. Or you could just start chipping in. He is a 1/3, and turn 2, not many things can.
Yeah, there's a chance that whatever you put a bounty counter on first is like pretty inconsequential, but there's a chance that either your opponent will just not value this guy and not kill it, and then it'll just be able to kill that inconsequential thing through normal combat, or, which is basically a very similarly powerful effect, your opponent values this guy a lot and dedicates like a premium removal spell to get rid of him. That's just your opponent discarding a card.
Yeah.
And a good card.
Yeah, it's a solid card. There's, like I said, there's a lot of good cards in the set. Especially for limited. This set looks really fun for limited.
Yeah, I'm really excited for another kind of, I guess we could call it a cycle of cards. Maybe not particularly great for limited, probably playable and constructed, at least in standard, but for the sake of art itself, these are a huge deal. And I'm talking about the Seb McKinnon cycle of cards.
Yeah.
Those
are the what are they called?
Mythoses?
The Mythos, yeah.
Is it Mythos? Is Mythos a plural or Mythos? Mythos, it sounds wrong.
Yeah, I think it's just the Mythos. I don't know.
Mythoses?
Not a clue. Couldn't
I'm sure
tell
we'll get corrected.
I'm sure.
But like the first one I believe that was spoiled was a Mythos of Nethroi, which is the black one. It is 2 and a black for at instant speed. You destroy target non-land permanent if it's a creature, or if you pay green and white, or if green and white was spent to cast it. So if you spend black, green, white, you can destroy target non-land permanent. But if you cast it for just black and then 2 generic or 2 of not those 2 color combinations, you can only destroy a creature. This card is super confusing. Like the templating is fucking abysmal on this card, but it is pretty cool.
No, absolutely.
And the cool thing about this is, to my knowledge, this is Seb's first traditional painting for Magic.
He went big. I'll give him that.
Hell yeah. So there are going to be, I don't know if he's going to be auctioning these or if there's already a buyer that's paid $1 million gazillion or whatever, but these paintings are going to sell for a fucking fortune.
Yeah, that's what you were saying earlier, since they're actually paintings.
Yeah, these are the first traditional works by Seb that are not digital.
Which is wild. He's branching out.
Yeah, I'd love to see like traditionally digital artists move into the traditional realm, and vice versa. I like to see traditional artists move into digital.
Do it all. Why not?
I mean, all of these motherfuckers are talented enough that they can do it all, and I like to see them kind of flex a bit. And these are definitely Seb flexing, because even though it's not digital, it's still very Seb.
Yeah, it's the same style.
Yeah, it's iconic.
Yeah, sure.
It's like you look at this card and you're like, oh, that's Seb McKinnon. It's obviously him. But like, it's not the typical Seb that we're used to.
That's true. I'll give you that. I only had one more thing that I wanted to cover. We covered the one Planeswalker. We didn't cover the other one.
Ooh, yeah, you're right. Why don't you give us a little bit of Vivian?
Yeah, it's Vivian, Monsters Advocate. It's 3 green for legendary Planeswalker Vivian. Comes in with 3 loyalty. So 2 static abilities. You may look at the top card of your library at any time, and you may cast creature spells from the top of your library. Pretty decent static abilities.
Oh, yeah.
The +1 is create a 3/3 green beast creature token, and then put your choice of a vigilance counter, reach counter, or a trample counter on it. Pretty good. Just putting off 3/3s with various abilities.
This card's nuts.
And then the -2 is whenever you cast your next creature spell this turn, search your library for a creature card with lesser converted mana cost, put it onto the battlefield, then shuffle your library.
Yep.
Combo enabler?
Yeah, it's Value City, baby.
That also just is it's really a win condition card advantage engine.
Yeah, this card slices and it dices.
Yeah, this is also very strong. And I'm glad this isn't anything less than 5 mana.
5. Yep, 100%. I mean, it's green Future Sight with the static ability.
Yeah.
which
And
just
that static ability isn't nothing. Being able to
and
cast stuff off the top of your library is no joke.
that's what I'm saying. It's future sight. Like that's insane. It and like that ability in green is so valuable because it's kind of like how we said before with the red one with Luca. That's like green's like virtual card advantage.
Yeah, there's a lot of cards through Magic history that lets you do this for creatures, and then it also pumps creatures out, that is, and then tutors for, like, granted, if you cast a 4-drop, you can get 3, 2, 1, or 0. Like, that's a thing.
I mean,
there's a lot of creature combos that are...
That's a lot.
Yeah, there are many creature combos that are 2 cards.
It's definitely abusable, that's for sure.
And there is a little bit of a drawback. It has to be lesser than. So if you cast a 3, you can't go get another 3. You gotta get a 2 or less.
But I mean, but still, there's still some value in that.
I am going to, for sure, be working on a Teamer Kiki Pod deck.
Ooh, are you alluding to a future Spice of the Week?
I am.
I love that. Hell yeah. Well, I got a couple other that we'll breeze through real quick before we get into our top 5. Crystalline Giant is one of them. I know we talked about this one a little bit before, but it is a 3 colorless 3/3 artifact creature. And at the beginning of your upkeep, you choose a counter that at random that Crystalline Giant doesn't already have among flying, first strike, death touch, hexproof, lifelink, menace, reach, trample, vigilance, and +1/+1, and then you put it on Crystalline Giant. This guy can get out of hand crazy quick.
This is arguably the my front runner for one of the most top pickable cards.
Oh yeah, like there's a good chance that this might just be one of the best first picks in a draft in this set.
The other thing is, this is not a human.
No, it is not. So feel free to mutate the shit out of this.
Yes.
Yeah,
so
big fan of that.
It's gonna, and 3 colorless, like that's big. And then just all of those are good. I think the worst one out of these might be Reach.
I would say Reach is easily the worst out of these. I mean, that's also scenario
maybe followed
dependent.
Up by Vigilance. Yeah, it's definitely like...
Yeah, Vigilance is kind of awkward depending, especially on when you cast the card.
I would for sure want the +1/+1 first, or Menace first.
Oh yeah, there's times where you're going to cast this on 3, hit Menace, and then just run away with it.
Yeah, just start smashing.
And, like, you play this guy your first main phase, you go through combat, this guy doesn't have
doesn't
haste.
have to attack. Yeah, it's going to get something.
Haste. So you cast this guy in your pre-combat main phase, and it gets one of these. It can't even attack, but it gets one of the things. The next turn, it gets another one, and then you can get busy.
Yep.
So just
and eventually, like this thing is just going to get better and better each turn.
Yo, yeah. Like playing this on 3, and then the first one you just get is like Death Touch, and you're just like, oh, cool, have fun attacking opponent. And the next one is just like, oh, it gets flying. You're just like, or Menace. You're just like, oh, well, here, taste it.
Yeah, I think flying, hexproof, Menace in that order will just win you.
Oh, yeah. 1,000%. Just like flying and Menace is just like, what? Deal with this.
Yeah.
Another one that I wanted to talk about, which just flavor-wise just blows my mind, is Yadaro, the Wandering Monster. That's the 7 mana for 5 and 2 red for an 8/8 with trample and haste. It's a turtle. It's a dinosaur turtle. And it has cycling for 1 and a red. And whenever you cycle Yardo, you shuffle it into your library from your graveyard. If you would cycle this card 4 or more times in that game, instead of, just, shuffling it back in, you just get to put it on the battlefield.
I will for sure make a deck around this card.
Mm-hmm. Just Yardo cycle madness.
Absolutely. Just randomly get some 8/8s. Kill it. Okay, I'll cycle this one. Okay, get a new 8/8.
And this guy does have a Godzilla version too. And so, like, just being able to throw a Godzilla at your opponent, just like, here's an 8/8 Godzilla for 2 mana. Also, I drew a card. Enjoy.
It actually, in the text, it actually says the Godzilla version. It does say when you cycle Yadara, Wandering Monster. So, underneath the thing, it has the actual name too. Okay.
Yep.
I did not know that before. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, that kind of makes it a little bit more clear.
Yeah.
All right, 2 more, and then we're getting into the game. The penultimate card is Dranith Magistrate. This is the quote unquote every set gets a Death and Taxes card. We just got it early this time around. It is 1 and a white for a 1/3. human wizard, and it says your opponents can't cast spells from anywhere other than their hand. This card kind of sucks.
Yeah, not that great.
It's just like doing a really bad Containment Priest impression.
Stops some shenanigans, but there's just better stuff.
Yeah, the fact that it specifically says cast means that like it doesn't interact with Dredge at all.
Well, this is the way to shut down Companion.
Sure, it does. Yeah, it definitely does that.
That's the counter ability, if you will.
Yeah, but in any other format where Companion is not really a thing.
Yeah, shit.
I mean, there is a chance that I just play this in Commander decks and just say, nice Commander, idiot.
Yeah, it's friggin' jagoffs. Have fun with your Commander.
Yeah, but that's just like extra mean. That's so brutal.
Your Commander deck relies on your Commander? Well, not anymore.
Well, you're gonna have to deal with this dickhead first. Suck it there. And the last card that I want to talk about today, we have gotten a lot of cards. We haven't got to talk about all of the ones, but we don't want this to be a 18-hour podcast. We'll probably cover some more of these cards. So if we didn't get a card that you wanted to hear about, let us know and we'll be sure to cover it in a future spoiler episode. But the last one for today is the Sharknado.
Yeah.
We would be remiss if we didn't cover some Sharknado in this episode.
That one kills me.
It is just
Sharknado too.
I am so happy that Wizards has a fucking sense of humor that they made a Sharknado card.
Yeah, it's Shark Typhoon is the actual name of the card, but
yeah, the Shark Typhoon is the real card. It is 5 and a blue for an enchantment. The enchantment says, whenever you cast a non-creature spell, create an XX blue shark creature token with flying, where X is that spell's converted mana cost. It also has X, a 1, and a blue. And then whenever you Cycle Shark Typhoon, create an XX blue shark creature token with flying. Matt, the sharks have flying.
Sharknado, bro.
It's so fucking good.
It is literal Sharknado. That's the funniest part.
I can't, it could not be more on the fucking nose.
It's funny.
It's so stupid.
It makes me laugh.
Wizards, I know you're listening. Good job. You did good with this one.
You made it funny.
Yeah, I saw this one and was just like, wait, what did they do? And then reread it and I was like, the sharks have fucking flying? What happened? And then reread it again in its entirety. I'm like, Jesus fucking Christ, Wizards.
And then you look at the art and it's like, oh, it's Sharknado. I get it.
It's the real deal Sharknado.
It is
when
verbatim.
Art imitates life, Matt.
Right?
When art imitates life.
It's good. It's good.
Incredible.
It's good.
Incredible. Oh, Sharknado might be the worst natural disaster that's ever occurred in American history.
It's in the top 5.
Yeah. Would you say that it might be the worst thing that's ever happened to a land?
You missed. I said it's the top 5. You missed the.
Oh, I didn't even hear that one.
Yeah, I said it's in the top 5 worst.
Okay, hold on. We're gonna rewind this. I'm keeping it in the podcast, but we'll rewind. Yeah, Sharknado has to be one of the worst natural disasters that's ever happened.
It's at least in the top 5.
Whoa, Matt, that's our top 5 for the week. It's actually we're doing top 5 natural disasters.
Yeah. Jesus Christ.
No, we're actually, this week was an idea that I got from one of my friends who I've been playing Commander with, Rupert. So shout out to Rupert. We are doing top 5 utility lands. So these are lands that do not produce any color of mana. They can produce colorless mana, but they don't produce a specific color of mana. But they also have, a nice little ability tacked onto them that you can have a little bit of fun with. So, Matt, do you have any honorable mentions?
I do. I kept it to 5 or 4 because you said they can't add colored mana.
Well, let's run through your honorable mentions real quick.
So, Rishadan Port, Wasteland.
Okay.
Mishra's Factory. And then here's one that not many people will know. Island of Wok Wok.
Oh, Matthew. I hate you so much. And I'm going to run through my honorable mentions. And then later on, we're going to find out why I hate you.
Because my honorable mentions, your top 5.
My honorable mentions are Library of Alexandria. Another honorable mention of mine is Vesuva.
Ooh, I forgot about that.
You can also put Thespian Stage in that as well. Another honorable mention for me is Dark Depths.
Yeah, two of my favorite lands. Nice little combo.
Yep. The only reason why I have those in my honorable mentions is because I don't really play those lands very frequently.
Fair.
In all of the lands in my top 5, I have played in some format pretty exciting.
There's only one of the lands in my top 5 that I've not played.
Matt, now that I'm thinking about it, I think I might be able to list your top 5.
I'm sure you probably could. The order is what's gonna get you, I think.
Yeah, I think that's probably true. Well, how about you lead us off? What is your number 5?
Maze of Ith.
Ooh, it's above Tabernacle. Maybe Tabernacle's not even on your top 5. I'm thinking my initial guess was Maze of Ith, Tabernacle, Library of Alexandria, Bazaar of Baghdad, and then I think my 5th one would have been Dark Depths. But now I don't think Tabernacle is on it, and I think Strip Mine is.
We will find out.
That's my guess.
What go is
on. Your number 5
is Maze of Ith. Yeah.
Is Maze of Ith.
It taps to remove a creature from combat. And there's a fun little trick you can do where after it deals its damage, there's a time where you can actually use it to untap your creature.
You can. I mean, and First Strike and Maze of Ith work really well together too.
Yes. This used to be, it's actually the old wording is remove damage from the stack.
That was when damage was put on the stack. Yeah, that makes it much more potent.
So yeah, that's... it actually is worded so damage does not go on the stack, but there's still a time where after it deals its damage, you can still untap it. Damage is still dealt, so if your creature were to survive, you could still untap it as a blocker.
Yeah, it's like the end of after damage is being dealt. Yeah.
Yeah, it was a big thing in lands with you swing with your big dumb Merit Lage, they block with a Baleful Strix. Okay, after damage, I'm gonna untap.
That's something.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a real good one. My number 5 is actually kind of similar, and it was also one of your honorable mentions.
I could probably say Island of Wok Wok.
It is Island of Wok Wok. I have always loved this card.
So for those of you who don't know, Island of Wok Wok is from Arabian Nights, I believe.
It is.
And you tap it to reduce target flying creature's power to 0.
Yes. So yeah, it's just any flyer, maybe Merit Lage. Tap it, and Merit Lage is a 0/20.
Yeah, it's generally outclassed by Maze of Ith. That's why it doesn't really play in Legacy all that often.
Yeah, agreed. It's just Maze of Ith is just a better Island of Wok Wok, but Island of Wok Wok is just such a cool card, and I can remember the moment when I discovered Island of Wok Wok is like when I was first getting into Magic, and I was like, wait, this land doesn't add mana. It doesn't do anything except for make something smaller. That is the coolest thing I've ever seen in my entire life.
Definitely neat.
Yeah, so this is like a very nostalgic land for me because it was the first one that I saw that was just like, this doesn't produce mana. This card is so stupid. Why would anybody play it? And then I was just like, oh, wait, no. This card is the greatest that's ever happened in Magic.
Oh, I get it. Yeah, it's one of those light bulb moments.
Yep, and that's why this is one of my favorite lands.
Okay, so what is your number 4?
My number 4, I don't think you would ever guess in a million years. My number 4 is Reliquary Tower.
I probably would have eventually got there.
Yeah, I guess there is a short list of lands that you could have guessed. But yeah, Reliquary Tower. So it says you have no maximum hand size, and it taps for a colorless mana. I love me some Reliquary Tower. It's Commander in every single Commander deck ever.
Yeah.
I've never not played it in a Commander deck. And it's just cool. Like, you know what's the worst feeling in the entire world? Drawing a bunch of cards, not being able to cast them, and then having to discard very good cards. Reliquary Tower says, hey, bud, I got your back. Don't worry about it. Just keep them in your hand.
No, you go ahead and you keep those cards.
Like, hey, thanks, Reliquary Tower. I appreciate you. And this is me. This is my appreciation to Reliquary Tower.
I appreciate your appreciation.
Fucking very nice. That's my number 4. Thank you, Reliquary Tower. It's my PSA.
So, my number 4, you actually fucked up.
Oh, no!
It is Tabernacle. Tabernacle was on there.
Oh!
Tabernacle does not tap for mana. And at the beginning, creatures gain, at the beginning of the upkeep, pay 1 for this creature or it is destroyed. Actually destroyed, not sacrificed.
Yep. So not sacrificed, which is important.
Yes, because many a time people have said, okay, well, your Merit Lage is dead. Nope, it's destroyed, and this is indestructible.
Yep, that is a very true thing that has happened.
This is also very big in stacks decks, where you're controlling the board presence, generally their lands first, and then you deal with their creatures with a Tabernacle of Pendril Vale.
Mm-hmm.
So they sack all their creatures because they can't pay for them.
Yeah, Tabernacle is a motherfucker. I hate this card.
I do not. I'm a big fan.
This could have easily landed in my top 5 least favorite cards of all time.
Oh, I love every single one of the cards that I've listed in my top 5 and my honorable mentions. Mishra's Factory is one of my favorite cards.
Oh, I am familiar with your love of Mishra's Factory, and I am genuinely shocked it's not in your...
Yeah, there's just much more powerful.
That's fair. Honestly, Tabernacle probably should have been in my honorable mentions for last week of most favorite cards.
Yeah, that makes sense.
I blew it.
Yeah, you fucked up.
Well, Matt, what's your number 3?
Well, you fucked up this one, but you redeemed yourself with number 3. It is, in fact, Strip Mine.
Hey, I knew it.
Very, very powerful card. Taps for a colorless, or you sack it to destroy target.
Yeah, that's not just non-basic land. That's any land.
Nope, you can pick off basics as well, which is very strong. It's been around since Magic. It is one of the most played cards in Old School. It is restricted in some versions of Old School, and others you can play 4 of them, which is ridiculous.
A land as old as time, a song as old as rhyme.
I don't know, you just said, but never.
There's a similar flavor in my number 3. It is Rashadan.
I figured that would be in there just because of good old D&T. So
boy,
go ahead
do I
and,
love me a fucking Rashadan.
Yeah, pretty similar, just not as powerful. It's like third in the line of mana fucking an opponent.
I think, yeah, that's probably fair. Yeah, so Rashadan Port taps for a colorless mana, and it also has for 1 and tap Rashadan Port, you can tap target land. So this is one of the cornerstones of the greatest deck in Magic's history, Legacy, Death, and Taxes. And it is incredibly effective at making sure your opponent doesn't get to play Magic.
Yeah, nice. Oh, during your upkeep, I'm going to go ahead and tap that down.
Yeah, my favorite thing in the entire world is like just having the soul read on like my opponent having True Name Nemesis or something like that, and just being like, oh, you don't get to have 2 blue.
Or you could just cut them off of a certain color in general.
Yeah, just an entire color.
Yeah, which tends to be pretty big in Legacy.
Massive in Legacy. Yep, massive in Legacy. That's why Port is such
really
a powerful card.
Yeah, it doesn't really see play in much other than that. I'm sure Commander here and there.
Oh, yeah.
Not really ever in Vintage, but...
No, Legacy is a mainstay in the mana control creature decks. Like, I mean, even to the extent of, like, Goblins plays Rashadan Port because it's such a effective card at delaying your opponent and letting you enact your game plan while also making sure your opponent doesn't do anything too fucked up.
It's just a nice little disruptive way to play.
Yep, exactly.
It's literally free. It's just a land slot, and that's really all there is to it. That Goblins was such a dominant deck in Legacy when Legacy first started that they were scrambling on how to like neuter the deck a bit.
Yeah, so they banned a whole bunch of Goblins, and Port was a part of that whole situation.
Yeah, that was in the winning, what was it, back then, Champs or Worlds?
Yeah, it was one of those big tournaments, yep.
Yeah, so very good number 3. What is your number 2?
Well, I cheated a bit for my number 2.
Cheater, pumpkin eater.
My number 2 is actually a cycle of lands.
That's not cheating, that's fine.
Okay, cool, then I didn't cheat. My number 2 is the Innistrad utility land. So it's cards like Moorland Haunt, Desolate Lighthouse, Alchemist Refuge, Keswick Wolf Run, Gavany Township, cards like that. Vault of the Archangel is another one. The
Don't those tap for mana though?
Nope, all of them tap for a colorless mana, and then for a combination of 2 colors, they do an ability. So like Moorland Haunt for a
yep, you're right. Yep, I was thinking manlands for some reason.
No, yeah. Moorland Haunt for a white and a blue. You can tap it, exile a card, exile a creature card from your graveyard, make a spirit. Alchemist Refuge for a green and a blue. You can cast a non-land card that turn as though it had flash. Desolate Lighthouse lets you draw a card and then discard a card. I have played all of these cards, or not all of them, but a good portion of them in a lot of decks throughout multiple formats. Like Alchemist Refuge has been in every single blue-green commander deck I've ever played. I played Desolate Lighthouse and Moorland Haunt in more modern decks than I'm proud to admit. You can throw Keswick Wolf Run and Gavany Township in that list as well, because I've played them in far more decks than I probably should have. I love the ability to do shit with my lands, and these are like the epitome of doing things with lands, because all of them are designed so well that in the color combinations that they're in, it just seems like exactly what you'd want to do. Like, of course, in the blue-red deck, I would want to play Desolate Lighthouse and draw more cards. Of course, in white-blue, I would want to make a flyer. Of course, in the Simic deck, I would want to play a creature and at instant speed. Like, these are just so obvious and so perfectly...
Well, that's the thing with utility land. It's just a land in your deck that you need to play anyway, and you can trim down on some basics or some dual lands or whatever, and it's almost like a half of a spell that a lot of times is repeatable.
Oh, yeah.
Like, for example, Loot House. How many times do you activate Loot House in a game? It's generally not once. It's generally multiple times. Same with Rishit Import or Maze of It. It's a repeatable effect that you get for something that you need to have in your deck anyway.
Yeah,
and
it's
it
either
also can add mana most of the.
Yeah, it's either I'm using Desolate Lighthouse for mana in that game, or I'm activating it multiple times. Like in control matchups, Lighthouse is like one of the best cards you could possibly have in your deck, and it's just a land slot.
Yep.
Yeah, so I love the Innistrad utility lands. Just another reason why Innistrad is one of the all-time great sets in Magic.
Fair. All right. On to, I would agree with you there too. The utility of a lot of those lands very strong. I'm a personal fan favorite of the Loot House.
Hell yeah, Loot House is so good.
So my number 2, I also want to say that your lands are all bullshit legacy, modern forward, and mine are like uber powerful. Like,
yeah, yours are all
the best lands ever printed. Yeah. My number 2 is Bizarre Bag Deck, which is so powerful in Vintage. The Dredge deck will mulligan to this land. They will mulligan down to 1 card to try to find this land.
Yeah, and that's one of the reasons why people were complaining about the new mulligan rule, because of specifically Vintage Dredge, because they just get to have more looks at trying to find Bizarre.
Yeah, which honestly, it doesn't matter. That's the only card they actually... It was like 97% of the time they'll find it between mulligan, even the old mulligan rules, that is.
Yeah.
And we talked about this in a previous episode, but it was such a high percentage. It was like 97.1 or something along those lines. Someone call Frank Karsten or talk to Wizards to unban him.
Or Joel Larson!
Yeah. But it's that powerful. Will literally mulligan to 1. Between that and they play Serum Powder in that deck, literally just for more looks at getting a Bizarre.
And what's Bizarre do, Matt, for people who don't know?
So you draw 2 cards and you discard 3 cards.
Well,
card disadvantage, you say. Yeah. Until you have a Dredger and you're like, okay, I'm going to dredge 5, and return those 2 cards to my hand. So you dredge 10, and then you discard 3. Okay, you don't really give a shit.
No, you're discarding those cards that you dredge, so you can just do it again next turn.
If you could in dredge, you would literally take all but like 2 cards in your deck and flip it into your graveyard.
Into your graveyard, yep.
And then there's like the Survival Salad decks, which is an aggressive deck based around small creatures that are disruptive and the ability to discard cards for free. Like, what's that card? It's a 1/1 that its madness cost is 0, so you discard it free.
Basking Rootwalla.
That's the one, and you literally get a 1/1 for free.
Yeah, and you know who's good friends with Basking Rootwalla?
Thalia.
Hollowed One.
And Hollow One.
Yeah, and Thalia. And Vengevine. And the list goes on. Yeah, that deck is...
Yeah, that's honestly the newest hotness of Vintage. And it's not even that new anymore. It's just one of the newer decks that have actually worked.
Yeah, that deck is super cool.
Super powerful. It's so powerful, but at the same time, it's not powerful because it's a very specific role that it fills.
Yeah. Well, Matt, what's your number 1?
As you have already called it, this is probably one of my 3 favorite land cards. This is Library of Alexandria.
Oh, gonna go check out a book, are you?
Yeah. So this, it does tap for a colorless, or you can tap it, and if you have exactly 7 cards in your hand, you get to draw a card.
Yeah, that seems pretty powerful.
A turn 1 library on the draw is not really right now in Vintage, but for a long time was the best thing you could do in a control deck, or a deck that was going to be grindy. It's still very good. It's Vintage
Yeah, and
is
I was
just
gonna say
sped up.
it's still super good.
Yeah, Vintage is just sped up so much that oftentimes you're not going to have 7 cards. Old School, however, still fucking king shit, and it's people will literally demonic tutor for a strip mine to wait or to strip it.
Yeah, just to get rid of that because it's so good. Because it's
I may have
just so
just
much
aged
card
myself slightly. Demonic tutoring for a strip mine to strip mine a library. Yep, that sounds right.
Definitely has happened.
Super powerful. There's a reason it's like $800.
Yeah, it's great. It's one of the best lands of all time.
Arguably not the best land of all time, but best utility land for sure, in my opinion, and probably most people's opinion, except you, because you're probably wrong. But okay.
Well, Matt, do you know what gets rid of a Library of Alexandria?
Did you say Wasteland yet?
My number 1, Wasteland, baby!
I couldn't remember if you said Wasteland or not. You have Wasteland on there, but not Strip Mine?
Listen, I like Wasteland a hell of a lot more than I like Strip Mine because I get to play the Wasteland in Legacy as a 4-of.
You could play Old School and play Strip Mine as a 4-of.
I just get to play a hell of a lot more Legacy than I do Old School. I guess if I played Old School more, I could see Wasteland being usurped by Strip Mine.
Well, Wasteland's not legal, you stupid head.
Well, yeah, but in the current state of affairs, in me playing more Legacy than any other constructed format, Wasteland takes the fucking crown. I love blowing up dual lands so much.
There is something super nice in Legacies. They go turn 1 Delver, and you just go turn 1 Wasteland, and they just have a Delver, and then you kill their Delver, and then they're fucked.
Yeah, there is a very fulfilling feeling of my opponent trying to play Magic and them just not being able to because I wastelanded their 1 land that they had. Like my opponent mulligans to 4 cards or 5 cards, and they play out their land, and I'm just like, oh, I watched you mulligan. I see what happened here. Wasteland, and then the look on their face when all hopes are shredded from their body. It's watching their soul leave their physical form. It is a beautiful thing, and I have Wasteland to thank for that. I love that card so fucking much. Does that make me a bad person?
A little bit, but it's okay.
Fair enough. I love that card. What a killer top 5.
That was a good top 5. I love lands. They're my favorite card, I think.
Yeah, lands are probably the best card type in Magic.
They're also the hardest to interact with.
Yeah, like how do you interact with the basic planes besides Strip Mine? You don't. That's the trick question. Get out of here.
People are playing basic planes against you. You already lost.
Exactly, because basic planes are the best.
No. The person who played the basic planes already lost.
Oh no! Don't you ever speak ill of basic planes ever again.
I literally do.
Matthew, I challenge you to a duel.
I expected Yugi Moto to scream Yu-Gi-Oh, but
Heart of the cards, baby. Let's go! No, talking about a duel of the minds, Matthew. Maybe a duel that
Wheel
involves
of Fortune.
Randomly generated cards from the Scryfall website.
Oh, that thing. Yeah, I don't think I'm going to do that today.
Oh, no, just going to veto the best part about the podcast?
Yeet.
You're not getting away that easily, bud. We're going to play some accumulated knowledge.
That's fine. Bring the pain. Is it me or you this week?
I believe I'm asking you this week.
Okay.
So for those of you out there who are not familiar, every week we play a game called Accumulated Knowledge. That is where one of us goes to the Scryfall website and we hit the random card generating button. Whatever card comes up, we ask the other one the name of said magic card. And then the other person has to give the mana cost of that magic card. If they get it right, they get a point. And if they don't, they have to have every card that they are mutating in Ikoria standard destroyed before the mutated card even gets to attach to it.
Even gets to come out and play.
Yeah, that's going to be a sad moment when that happens. So, Matt, are you ready for a little bit of accumulated knowledge action?
I suppose so.
You get 2 hints, and you have to get 4 out of 5 correct. This first one is a doozy. Your first card is Pang Tong Young Phoenix.
I'm pretty sure this is a Portal 3K card.
You think so?
Yes.
You know, you can ask a hint.
Oh, I know it's a Portal 3K card.
Ooh.
It's either that or that Asianly release set, but I don't think so. How many hints do I get? 2?
You get 2.
Do I waste a hint? I feel like I could get this. I'm guessing it's either white, blue, or red. I don't think it's blue because the blue one was just recently a Judge promo.
Ooh.
I think I'm going to use a hint.
Ooh, what's your hint
going
to be, bud?
I want to know what this sucker does.
So Pang Tong Young Phoenix, it says tap. Target creature gets a +0/+2 until the end of turn. Activate this ability only during your turn before attackers are declared.
Is that the actual text on the card?
Would you like, that is the errata text. Would you like the actual factual text of the card?
Is it going to use my second hint?
No, it will not. I'll give it to you for free.
Yeah, I want the OG.
Okay, so the original text on the card is, on your turn, before attacks, you may tap Pang Tong to give any one creature a +0/+2 until the end of turn.
It's definitely the Portal 3K one. It's not a newer set. That's not red. Red would be aggressive. I think it's white.
Is it?
No, it's not. Is it?
What have you got for me?
I think I'm going to go 2 white.
Is that your final answer?
It is.
Matthew, it is 1 white.
Fuck.
Pang Tong is a legendary creature human advisor for 1, or he is a 1/2 for 1 and 2 white.
That was close.
I'm sorry, he's 1 sword and 2 shield. He is definitely a Portal 3K card.
Oh, you motherfucker. If you would have told me it was that, I would have got it right. Asterisk.
Well, that one was a tough one. This next one is significantly less tough.
Hit me.
It is Orzhov Signet.
Are the Signets? They're 2 mana, right?
I'm
pretty sure they're 2 mana.
Ooh.
I don't know though.
Maybe this is trickier than I thought.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure these are 2 mana. I'm gonna go 2 colorless.
Would you like a hint?
No.
Is that your final answer? Is 2 colorless mana?
Yes.
2 colorless mana is correct.
Okay, thank God. I was like, are you fucking with me?
Yes.
Orzhov Signet.
Yeah, it is an artifact for 2 colorless mana that for 1 generic, you can tap it and add a white and a black.
Okay.
Yeah, there's
a whole cycle of these.
Cube staple.
Yeah,
Matt, are you ready for your next
one? They were. Yeah, I am.
It is Keswick Recluse.
Oh, I know this. This is it's a spider.
Really? What gave that one away?
The recluse.
The Keswick part?
All the spiders are pretty much 2, 3, or 4 mana unless they're wild from Commander, which I don't think.
Did you know that its silk is highly prized? But then again, so is your life.
Not that much. I'm going to stick with what I know with the spider cycle. I'm going to go 2 green.
Is that your final answer?
Yes.
Matt, you are correct.
Yeah, I was really hoping it wasn't the 3 green ones.
No, it is. Yeah, you're 100% right. It is 2 green for a spider. It is a 2/3. It has reach and death touch.
And death touch. That's a good one.
Hell yeah, this card is sick.
That's the Ascension set, right? The
Dark Ascension. Stuff. Yep. Okay, next one. You ready?
What's this for? Yeah.
Yep. It is Argothian Swine. This one's an interesting one.
I know this. I just saw these in my bulk binder going through for old school shit.
Oh, this is a weird one to have in your bulk binder.
No, it's not. It's real shitty. It's a slightly upgraded version of like the Hill Giant.
Would you like to use a hint?
This is number 4.
Yes, Argothian Swine.
I'm gonna ask you something. That's gonna be my hint.
Okay.
Is it a 3/3 trample?
Ooh, I kind of like this utility of a hint, and I will allow it. It is a 3/3 trampler.
All right, this dude's 3 and a green.
That is very impressive, Matthew.
It's like a orangish boar, if I recall.
It is.
That's that lizard brain memory of shit.
Yeah, that was pretty impressive. I'm kind of awestruck by that.
I have like 7 of these.
I would
in my bulk box. I would have never gotten this without going through there the other day.
At this point, I would typically read the card, but you literally just read the text of the card.
Yeah, that doesn't surprise me.
It doesn't do anything else. It's a 3/3 trampler for 3 and a green.
Yeah, okay, that's what I thought. Good old bulk boxes coming to my rescue.
Oh boy, Matt, are you ready for your final one? This is for all the marbles. You got one more hint. It is.
I don't have another hint.
Oh, okay. Yeah, you're right. I was just so taken aback by that last one. I was in shock. So you got to raw dog this one. But I think you might get it. It is Promise of Power. Yes, Promise of Power. Let's go to Kev Walker art.
This isn't a twine card, I think.
I would ask if you want a hint, but now I know that you don't have any.
I'm going to get this one. It's a modal card. I know that, and it's a twine, but I don't remember what it does or the mana cost.
I guess you are not a commander player, so maybe this card is not as fresh in your brain as it would be.
It's either green or black. Now, what's the green one's the search and put it into play?
I'll tell you what. You know what the green one is?
Tooth and Nail.
It is Tooth and Nail. I was going to get that to you.
But I got there.
So you know it's not green.
No, Tooth and Nail's 7 mana, and the twines are 2.
Yeah, Tooth and Nail for the both abilities is 9 mana. But I'm not asking you about Tooth and Nail. I'm asking you about Promise of Power.
I'm going to go 3, black, 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 and it twines free, because all the twines add up to 9, don't they? I don't care. That's my final answer.
I don't know if that's true. That's your final answer?
Yeah.
Matt, it is 2 black, black, black. Oh, you were so close. That was a good shot
in the dark.
But it does entwine for 4.
So, yeah.
It does add up. 9. It does add up to 9.
They all do, don't they? All the
I think
rare
you might
ones?
be right. I think they all do add up to 9. All of like that main rare cycle of entwine cards.
I'm happy with that, even though I lost. That was closer than I thought I was.
It was so close.
So what's this sucker do?
So Promise of Power, like I said, for 2 black, 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 is a sorcery speed spell, and you can choose one. You can either draw 5 cards and lose 5 life, or create an XX demon creature token with flying, where X is equal to the number of cards in your hand, and you can entwine for 4, which means if you pay that additional 4 mana, you can do both.
Oh, that's probably really good in Commander.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Big time.
Draw 5 cards, make like a 8/8 or 9/9.
Yeah, make a big old boy.
Yeah, if I played more Commander, I probably would
have. That's very true.
What set's this from?
It is from, this one I have is from Mirrodin, and that is its original print.
That's what Tooth and Nail's from, isn't it?
That is correct. It has been printed a handful of times, notably Commander 2014. I think that's where I initially got it from and interacted with it.
Yeah, that makes sense. I'm looking this one up. What was it? Promise of what?
Promise of Power. Got to do your research, bud.
I do. This is how I learn.
You're learning, you're evolving.
Ooh, that's some dope art.
It's really good, yeah. Again, Kev Walker, man.
Reminds me of Jism Jin.
A little bit, you're right.
You know, I'll never, ever forget that card now.
Oh, no, that's going to be burnt in your brain permanently. So if it ever comes up again on Accumulated Knowledge, you got it.
Yeah, I got you then, boy.
I'm shaking.
Trembling.
So, Matt, you're the loser. That means I get the shout out.
Yeet, I suppose so.
Get to rip it from your cold, dead hands.
I've been off my game.
Yeah, maybe someday you'll get back to your former glory.
Maybe I just got lucky to start.
But so for my shout out this week, I'm going to shout out one of Magic's great cosplayers. It is Gobberthix on Twitter. Her name's Olivia, and she does some fucking awesome cosplays. Yeah, for sure. And unfortunately, cosplaying is taking a bit of a hit right now, considering there's no, in-person thing.
No events where people go and flock.
Yeah, super unfortunate. But also, in addition to cosplaying, she also does like crafting, kinda. Like she does like pottery and she does like some like metalworking stuff. And all of her shit is just wild. Like I would kill to be like even like kind of talented, at least in that capacity.
Yeah, I have no artistic ability whatsoever.
Not even close. But like she's also been on like the Commander like podcast, like playing games with them. And like I said, she does like insane cosplays and she does the arts and crafts stuff. Like all of it's wild.
Sounds pretty dope.
Yeah, so go check her out. Good. Yeah, she's on Twitter at Gobberthix. It's spelled how you would think. So yeah, go check out her shit. She has a Patreon. She has all the other stuff. So yeah, go check her shit out. And if you dig it, give her a follow.
Holla.
All right, dog.
We did not do something this week, which I'm a little bit upset with you.
Well, here's the thing, Matt. We took up all that time with Ikoria, but I can promise you that we will get to the Spice of the Week.
All right, I got one locked and loaded. I actually just sent you a picture of it.
Oh, this is a pre next week. Oh, is this old school?
This is an old school deck, baby.
Whoo! I like this already. I saw the Chaos Orb and I'm almost like, oh, I'm in. Sign me up. Oh, I can't wait to talk about this one next week.
Yeah, it's gonna be good.
Oh boy. Yeah, this is a spicy meatball. Okay, yep, we gotta go. I have to talk about this now. All right, nerds.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah,
a little spoiler for next. But if you, in between then, want to find us on the social media, you can find the podcast at fetch_shock. You can find me, Tyler, at Basic Land Bin, and you can find Matt at It's Bob. And we're gonna be here next week talking probably
more spoilers.
I would assume more Ikoria spoilers.
I have a story to tell everyone next week.
Oh, and story time with Matt. Oh, next week's gonna be great. This week was awesome, but next week you're not gonna want to miss. But until then, we will see you later, nerds!
Peace. Fucking go home. Go. You're already home. You're all isolated.
Yeah, go outside or something. Or wait, no, don't go outside.
Yeah, terrible.
So stay inside. Wash your hands, nerds.